My wonderful, beautiful, amazing humans, followers, fledglings, to all humans out in this world. I'm Gabriella from Gabriella's Vampire Tarot. For today, I'm going to be talking about actually the second new moon in Virgo taking place on September 21st. Wow. Because, it's like normally you would think, at the start of each month and season, it would be the new moon of, like, well, the next zodiac for that matter. But for some reason, astrologers actually have come across a rare cosmic reset that's taking place between August and September of the year 2025 of this year. So why this Virgo season is so rare? Well, Virgo new moons arrive each year just like any other zodiac signs, right? But something extraordinary happens. Two Virgo new moons back to back. The first that falls on August 23rd and the second that falls on September 21st, which is also a partial solar eclipse. And this makes sense, because the season feels like it's a double reset button, amplifying, Virgo's qualities of healing, refinement, and clarity. So it's rare to have two moons in the same sign, and then it happens, where the themes of the sign are accentuated on a grand, platform for that matter. So, but Virgo energy is all about tending to details, grounding into routines, and aligning with practices that are, that support our well-being for that matter, which is very important on so many levels. So, but anyway, so what do we know about the Virgo new moon? Again, I already mentioned, some of the qualities of a Virgo new moon. But anyway, the phase of the moon occurs on the 29 degrees and 5 minutes of Virgo. And there's an urgency to our new beginnings. The eclipse opposes Saturn and Neptune and harmonizes with Uranus and Pluto. Our responsibilities to others, our emotional health, and our need for downtime can weigh upon us. It is difficult to pull ourselves away, but we have the tools to make changes, we now realize that are necessary for growth and development. But anyway, it's time to build our powers of health and constructive discrimination, learning to be more proactive, start new health and fitness routines, set up specific routines that help us manage our lives in a positive and a bit more of a mindful manner, and learn the power of now and of mindfulness. So the thing is, it's like, since we're practically still in this start of our next chapter, our new book of life and stuff like that, it's actually a really good idea to kind of follow, with, maybe establishing new routines, new ideas, new anything and stuff like that. Because, it's like if you're a Virgo for that matter, it's like it pretty much just kind of accentuates how you pretty much just have this, this way to actually be so, detail oriented and stuff. You pretty much just kind of like are really good at reading between the lines. You guys are really good at reading like real good, business letters, contracts for that matter. And you guys are able to kind of pinpoint, like if there's like any kind of, mistakes for that matter that could easily be corrected, or anything that kind of just seems a bit off and odd, right? I mean, if any of those traits, will more or less just kind of define you as a Virgo for that matter. I mean, it's actually a very interesting, moment, because I was kind of worried a bit, because normally, like I just mentioned at the start, how a lot of, next, zodiac signs get their new moons and stuff like that. But anyway, so the upcoming or the next, Libra moon will be taking place on October 21st. And I know it's kind of interesting because that's mostly actually the start of Scorpio season for that matter. So, but I guess, this year it's pretty much, quite different and extraordinary on so many levels and stuff. So it's like, it's interesting because, it's like I've been more or less kind of getting the upcoming All Hallows Eve, performance already and stuff like that. So, it's interesting because, if you're one of these individuals, of course, like, me and probably thousands of other humans in this world, is that when you pretty much just think, yeah, I still have a month to go. I still have maybe a couple weeks to go and stuff like that. I'm just going to kind of take a break today. It's normal to want to feel like that, and of course take as much, time and time to re-energize and reorganize your thoughts and feelings and especially your energy for that matter. But sometimes that can, it will be kind of dangerous in the sense where you pretty much just think, well, not now, maybe tomorrow. And then, that is pretty much, starting this new cycle of thinking, oh goodness, it's like, oh, has it been a week already? Oh my goodness, now we still have 3 weeks and now we still have 2 weeks. Oh goodness, we really need to start working and studying and stuff like that. It's a common feeling, but especially when it comes to the second new moon in Virgo for that matter, it's kind of important just to kind of keep yourself grounded and thinking, okay, we need to think about the power of now. We need to think about, yeah, doing it right now, even if you just pretty much just think, oh, this is the last thing I feel like dealing with. I'm really tired. The best way to kind of, start something that you pretty much just have some kind of like maybe not really hidden resentment, but you pretty much just kind of think, it's like, oh man, do I really have to do this right now? Really? Why? Why do I have to do it? I'm so tired. I have other, things on my mind and stuff like that. It's perfectly normal. And do whatever you want, because I would never order anybody around for that matter. But my suggestion is to actually maybe, just start something for like 5, 10, 15 minutes. If you have to, study for an upcoming test, like in the winter times or in the fall times for that matter. It's actually really important to just kind of think, okay, just open up, just one page and just even read just one paragraph, even if it just, takes only just, just a few, sentences for that matter, and say, okay, because, that's kind of like the start of actually, getting into it. Because if you just think, well, I'm not even going to open up the book, I'm not even going to open up these digital, machines, these laptops or your cellular, devices for that matter. I mean, the thing is, it's easy just to kind of keep postponing your obligations and responsibilities, but it's actually not wise to do so, because then you pretty much just kind of go into this routine of thinking, well, not now, I'm just really tired. Not now, I still have something else to do. Not now, I just got in a bit of a, negative, mindset, so I can't really focus and stuff like that. 100%, fair enough on so many levels in any way how you may be feeling and thinking and anything for that matter. But sometimes it's actually good to kind of push yourself and force yourself in other ways to say, okay, it's like I may not be in the mood for it right now, but sometimes it's really good to just think, okay, we're going to have to do this. I mean, I pretty much sometimes have to kind of, yank myself away from, my leisure activities and stuff like that to say, no, we need to really focus up this upcoming performance and stuff like that. It's going to be big and grand and spectacular and stuff like that. But of course, the preparation towards it is always like thinking, oh my goodness, is everything going to work out? Blah, blah, blah. What if this? What if that? Always uncertainties. Anything can happen and stuff like that, but as far as I'm concerned, it's like, it's really good just to keep at it and just say, okay, I just need to, look at this for a bit, or I need to check this out for a bit, even if it's only like 15 minutes out of your day, out of the whole 24 hours. Of course, every day, gets about like 8 to 10 hours of sleep, and then you work for about 8 to 10 hours, I don't know, or maybe even less, I don't know anything about that, but the thing is, then you pretty much just think, okay, I still have 4 more hours, and then you pretty much just think, in those 4 hours, or you're even just working out and stuff like that, it's just taking about like, 10, 15 minutes out of your time, just opening up a book or studying or focusing on a chore or an activity that you just pretty much just think, my goodness. But then here's a wonderful thing that you could do afterwards is reward yourself. Even if you pretty much, did about, 15 minutes of studying or, of chores, of whatever it is, it's just, reward yourself for thinking, okay, because then you think, okay, it wasn't all that bad. It pretty much, there's still, something positive that that came from it and stuff like that. And then the best moment is, it's like when you are fully prepared for any kind of upcoming exam or test or what have you and so forth, is that you pass the thing because you actually, just kept at it. It's kind of like getting into the routine of something. So, but anyway, I kind of wanted to share this special, video of the second new moon in Virgo. So I wonder if there's, Virgos out in this world, my beautiful followers and fledglings that can pretty much just kind of feel all the effects of this upcoming new moon and stuff. But anyway, well, thank you so much for joining me today. I love you guys incredibly. In a few days, I'm just going to keep, doing my just regular, readings. Oh yeah, I'm going to probably bring back the Dracula reading starting in October and stuff like that, the spooky season. I'm sure everybody's probably getting all prepared for that, by decorations and getting all kinds of stuff. But anyway, I love you guys incredibly. Again, feel free to browse my channel. I have it wherever it is posted or seen and stuff like that. But other than that, love you guys, and thank you so much for joining me today again.